Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is Franz, Sidney, and this is Create with Franz. And today we have Dani Kent with us to talk to us about bulimia and how she recovered from using mindfulness to recover from this terrible condition that makes us eat and eat and eat and then feel very guilty and then get rid of the food in an unhealthy manner. And this has been going on for many, many years. So welcome to the show, Dani.
Hello. Thank you for giving me the time to join you.
Yes, it's so good to see you. And don't worry too much about being perfect on video because there is a first time for everyone. And we didn't come out perfect the first time we did anything, did we? We walk and
No.
we fall. And so it's the same for video. I just like to talk, so I can talk to a stone and talk to an empty room, make friends in there. So I'm just talking. Nobody can stop me, but you will stop me today because I'll be asking you questions and you will be talking to me. We only have half an hour. We're going to spend the first 10 minutes talking about how this bulimia came to happen. So you
Mhm.
are very young, you were about 14 years old, and what was going on there. So what were the symptoms? What was the trigger and what was it causing in your life? And then after that, we'll go through how things developed. So
Yeah.
you get started and just watch you, listen, and our
Lovely. Okay.
audience will listen.
So yes, as you said, things tended to uh, materialize, I suppose, in my mid-teens, on and off throughout my teens into my 20s, where I would have tendencies to control food, whether that was to stop food completely or actually to almost purge and then make myself sick. But that did tend to ease off. Although I always felt like I needed to control food for some reason. So I do tend to say that I'm a recovering bulimic because I believe that there may be triggers in the future where I might kind of have that tendency to go again. But it really reared its head in 2017 when I lost my mum very suddenly. And my need to, I suppose, control the situation came to then control my food, so just totally took a different turn. Um, so after my mum passed away, I gained a lot of weight, etc. And about a year later, I'd become very depressed, very sad, gained an awful lot of weight, was very unhappy and miserable. So I decided to join one of those very well-known slimming clubs, which I had dipped in and out of again all through my 20s and 30s. But it became almost every time I did lose weight each week, I would celebrate by binging and purging. So I'd lost weight and I'd done really well, but my way to celebrate was to eat lots of food. And then I felt, as you said, very, very guilty and would then purge. Um, and this went on and on and on for months and months, but got progressively worse. It wouldn't just be a celebration, it would be a daily thing. Or if I felt like I'd eaten too much at a meal, I would disappear and go off. And I'd joined the club to only lose a stone, but ended up losing almost over 2 stone, which I took a lot of satisfaction in. But it was actually a trigger. It was like, I want to lose more, I want to lose more. And this went on for at least a year where it was very, very controlling, and everybody was complimenting me on how thin I was, and but that was probably the worst thing to say to me, to be honest, because it just fueled the fire of like, I look really thin, so I want to stay like this or get thinner. Um, and then I had a huge wake up call one moment in half term. I have 2 young children, and I was upstairs and they were downstairs, and it had been the third time that I had actually gone up to make myself sick with the children in the house. And I just suddenly thought, what are you doing, Dani? How, if they see you doing or hear you, or just, it really scared me, like really, really scared me. And that was kind of the turning point for me, of I cannot let my children go through this or know why I'm doing it, or witness anything like that at all. So yes, that's when things changed, and all for the good. My then healing journey started shortly after that.
So that's quite an incredible story, isn't it? That we think we have to do this, we have to join the slimming club. I actually remember buying a book from one of those very famous watchers groups.
Yes.
It was £12. I remember reading the book, reading the recipes, and I thought, wow, if I were to eat those recipes, I would be gaining weight. That was my opinion. It was just
Yes,
before I trained as a nutrition. I thought, how on earth? And then when I see they go to Tesco, and you see all these packages, um, frozen food, and there are people that only eat from those, and they're all from Weight Watchers or whatever. And you think, how can you think that you can live on processed food like that and lose weight and be healthy?
absolutely.
Why don't we just eat fruit, vegetables, nuts, beans, and people who want can have, dairy or meat in certain
Yeah,
amounts, go with our gut flora, because they're all different. We react differently to food, and we're not listening to our body by going to this calorie counting. There is a lot more than calories, isn't it? In losing weight
yeah.
and
That
it's,
restriction, the restriction is where it starts, because you're stopping
yeah,
your body having what sometimes it needs, and food is fuel, and we all need it, but we all just need it. It's just kind of having an idea of what is better fuel,
yeah,
but not restricting
yeah.
in any way.
Because when you restrict it, your body goes, oh, that's missing, so I'm gonna have to get it back. Also, I lost weight. I lost weight. Marisa Pierre, my trainer in RTT, always say, I lost weight, so I have to regain it. And it's automatic. You get it
Yeah.
just like a bouncing ball, ping pong,
Yes.
boom, up and down the yo-yo dieting. And thankfully, there was this point where your conscience was loud and say, hey,
Mm,
what's going on here? Do you see what you're doing? And this happens in lots of other part of our life, when maybe we're smoking or we're drinking or we're doing something that we think is going to relieve the stress and the problem, but is actually hurting us. It's so
yeah.
subconscious. We repeat it, but the result wasn't good, and we keep repeating it and repeating it.
Yeah.
And then finally you have this moment. I hope that this moment was incredible, because you're telling me your whole life changed. What did you do? How did you start this healing journey, thinking there
Yeah.
will be people listening who have the same problem?
So the first thing really for myself was actually speaking out and saying to myself, but also getting counselling and speaking to professionals, as well as actually speaking to my husband, who had no clue whatsoever, and close friends. Um, so it was almost speaking out and talking about it was like, well, it's real now, Dani, and you're going to have to deal with it, because people now know. You can't hide it. When you're hiding it, it's easy. Um, so I'd started counselling, and knew something needed to change. But a few weeks later, after this kind of light bulb moment, I went to a spiritual and well-being fair, just a local little one that I go to quite regularly. Um, and there was a lady there who was advertising her mindfulness classes and her business that she was about to start in my little village. And I just knew that after speaking with her, that this was something that I wanted to do. It wasn't that I wanted, I needed to do, for myself. So I started going every Saturday, which was meditation and learning mindfulness tools. And with the counselling and going to these classes, meeting like-minded people, learning new tools, asking for recommendations of books and literature and things to read and do to sort of further my healing, through meditation, journaling, lots of different tools that I now teach. I started that journey, of doing this every single day, journaling and doing kind of what we would call high vibrational tools, so gratitudes and affirmations and things like that, and just started to believe that um, there is always a reason for why we do these things, and why things come to us in life, but they're lessons to be learned or things to be learned from, and to try and move forward. And it was really just to move forward mindfully, to be more in the moment instead of worrying about the future, or actually um, stressing about things that had already happened. I'd already done these things to my body, and it was time to heal, because obviously from feeling very rotten and being slightly overweight, there are issues that occur when you're then underweight and when you're putting your body under stress. So I wasn't just healing my mind, I was also healing my body. And that process was most definitely through mindfulness tools and taking on this class, which I then later studied in. I studied mindfulness life coaching. I went on to do tapping, also Reiki, which is energy healing, um, angel healing as well. And then later on for yoga and different movement things, just purely for my own healing journey. But as I went through and did these particular things and felt so much better, started to get rid of the scales. Well, I got rid of the scales very, very early on, so I wasn't weighing myself, and it was more about how I felt than what looked on the scales or what size jeans I was in or anything like that. And this happened quite quickly. And I've been able to maintain that now for about 5 years, in a kind of, I call it a maintenance of just my well-being, with all of these tools. And I still to date do them every single day, or every week. I have a routine, and that works for me. And if I break that for some reason, because of work or the children or a holiday, I really notice the difference. So my journal comes everywhere with me. It's been around the world. All these different tools are things that you don't have. Obviously, a journal is a notebook and it's a physical thing, but everything else are things that you can have in your mind and just bring that out when you need it.
That's wonderful. Thank you for explaining. And I think there's a lot of people who want to lose weight but find it really difficult. And meanwhile, they don't want to hear anyone reminding them. So, you have to accept your body as it is. And
Yes,
but it's a bit of kind of just cover it all up. And in the end of the day, if the weight is there and it's too much, it's compressing both internal organs. It might cause
absolutely.
diabetes. It might cause problem to the joints. So when we talk about losing weight, we're not talking about looking amazing. We're talking about helping the body to
Yes,
work
yes,
appropriately. So, I mean, I was lifting quite a few boxes yesterday, 10 kilos each is nothing. 10, but I had to go really high. Yeah? It was kind of like, wow, I'm glad I lift weights at home, because then I could lift these boxes with problems. And I thought, what if I had to carry that weight the whole day? I would be so tired,
yeah,
extremely tired. But this is what happens. If I put on more weight than my little frame can have, 10 kilos, I have to carry the weight.
yeah,
So my joint and my bones are not gonna grow, and I'm not gonna be any better. They're just
no,
gonna have to cope with it. So it's gonna be all this pain. And so then I'm gonna be more depressed, and that's gonna fuel, oh well, I don't want to do exercise because I'm so painful. So it becomes a very
it
easy
becomes a
cycle
cycle. Yeah,
of sadness and feeling low. And so it's good to think, who cares about what people say? I want to do this for me because I like
absolutely.
me. I like my inner thing. And I'm glad that you said journaling, because I think, especially men, they don't think that's important, but we have to talk to ourselves
Yeah,
and shut down the negative committee, don't we? And just say, right, I value myself. Maybe I had lots of failures. Maybe I made some mistakes, but
we
am
learn
I
from
a
those.
creation of this amazing universe, and I got this potential? And to get the best, I have to nourish myself and grow and learn. So education, let's put together what is what is your plan? So what would you say to a person that is, a few stones overweight and have been trying all sorts of stuff, nothing works, and you say, right, this is my plan. I give you 3 tips to get started today. What would you suggest to them if you were right in your room?
So, like you said before, it is how you feel, not about the external of what other people are saying. And it's more about feeling comfortable in your own skin. And if you feel comfortable in your own skin and you're healthy, then that's absolutely fine. But if there are health ailments or things there that aren't quite right, that can be rectified by potentially losing weight, then yes, it is more about, food is fuel, um, but listening to your body. This is where the mindfulness comes in, of asking questions before you eat. Am I actually hungry? Or am I eating because I'm bored, tired, um, or just, there are so many reasons that we do eat, but our body isn't hungry.
I just want to interrupt you. That is so true. I was reading or watching some YouTube from one of his big professors, and a lot of times when we think we are hungry, we're actually dehydrated. And
Yes,
so he always said, have some water first. And
yes.
then after 10 minutes, you still feel like I'm really hungry. And it's been 3 hours since the last meal. Maybe you are hungry, but a lot of times it's dehydration. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, it is. And these are the little things that we don't get educated on, I suppose, at school or anywhere until we start delving a bit deeper ourselves. So yes, asking the question, am I actually hungry? Or is it due to other factors? And I, one could be dehydration, but also, how is this going to make me feel? So if you were to eat the cake, let's just, I love cake, I love naughty things, and I still indulge in them. They're lovely. But um, how is it actually going to make you feel afterwards? Are you going to feel really guilty? And so it's then a mental conversation with yourself. Is it going to make you feel really sluggish and tired because of the sugars that are in there that then do their thing within your body but make you feel really groggy? And or is it going to actually upset your tummy? There are very lots of different factors to think about. So it's almost stopping the potential effect of a binge or something worse than that thereafter, or just those feelings and emotions that we feel for eating something a bit naughty. But if you're aware of that and can have a conversation with yourself and just say, yes, but I would like the chocolate and it's going to make me feel good, yes, but not to feel that guilt after, being able to forgive yourself and move on and just think, well, yes, everyone's allowed a treat, that's fine. So that those questions were the first questions that I would ask myself the majority of the time. And then you kind of think, well, no, actually, I'm not hungry. I don't want to actually eat that or have that alcoholic drink because of said reasons afterwards. And you start to listen and learn about your body and its needs and its wants. And obviously, as women, we have cycles, so things do change, where our body needs things at certain times of the month than others, and it's being able to be aware of that as well. So definitely those questions. Journaling, most definitely one of my biggest tips, because like you said, it's having a conversation with yourself. How am I feeling today? So if you can't talk to somebody, write it all down on that journal. Get it all out, delve deep into your emotions and your feelings. There's lots of ways of journaling and tips on how to journal in lots and lots of places. But journaling, definitely tip number 2. And my tip number 3 would be to move your body with love. So we go to the gym. I go to the gym. I'm very lucky. I have a little one outside in my garden. But I always want to move my body with love. I'm not doing it because I've eaten lots of food and I need to work it off. And I'm not doing it so that I can eat lots of food afterwards because I've just worked out. I'm just moving my body with love. I'm not pushing it into anything or out of anything. I'm just doing it to feel good. No, I don't have to be sweating or feel sick at the end of that workout. It's just to actually have that euphoric feeling of my body's moved and it's happy and it's healthy.
That makes a lot of sense because I don't really have any particular diet and I eat what I want and I don't have any problems. But if I start on eating a cake I love chocolate, dark chocolate. Literally, I made 3 cakes the other day, which is the first time in a year, because I had lots of eggs, like 33 eggs where I was
Oh,
donated
wow.
eggs. So because we had all the birthdays, 4 of us in January. So let's make a cake. And I literally could not stop eating because it's so addictive. It's blinking sugar, isn't it?
Yeah, it
And
is. It's very addictive.
yeah, because you can't stop eating. And even me, I'm like, oh, I'm 43 kilos, it's 5'1". I can easily eat what I want and it won't make any difference. But it's not good because what does that do to your body? And in the end of the
Yeah.
day, you don't need that. You really don't
No.
need to. And it works better if you have cake or whatever once a week. So then it's a real treat because it's different. But if I have it every day, it's not a treat. It's every
No.
day, and it, I don't really appreciate it. Like I love ice cream, but if I were to eat ice cream every single day, it wouldn't really be anything interesting for me. So
No.
I think a good strategy is also to create different type of snacks, different type of savory foods, and have them ready in the fridge. So if between the two main meals we're a little bit, oh gosh, we're
Yeah.
not quite there,
Preparation.
we can have something that contains veggies of lean protein or a good fat, because fats help you to lose weight.
They do.
Proper fats.
Yes. Which
People don't
again,
realize. Yeah, olive oil is very good. I mean, I wouldn't say lard, and I'm just out of that conversation, but really educational thing. And I love your thing that you keep going on about the journaling, because I think journaling is incredible. And you go back and you say, oh yeah, look at my triggers. You can
yeah.
even doodle in it and make little
Yeah.
drawings and what you've done, or attach something, or
Spider
been to the
graphs
cinema.
and, anything.
Yeah,
It's your little haven to write what you want, as long as it's
yeah,
offloading out of your mind, basically, so
yeah,
that your monkey mind isn't taking over. You're able to process things calmly, and everything doesn't feel quite so overwhelming, because you're
yeah.
able to offload that at the beginning of the day, preferably, and then you've set the tone for the day.
Mm. Yes, the tone for the day is important, and that's why I think it's important you mentioned in the very beginning that affirmations and gratitude are
Yes.
important. Joe Dispenza, who is very well known for his work with the subconscious mind and for healing himself after being completely paralyzed from the neck down, he always says in the morning, you wake up and you start thinking of all the problems and you bring back the emotional luggage from the day before and you start the day wrong. But if you start the day by being grateful and think
Yeah.
about 3 things you can be grateful for, even if you're immobilized and in a wheelchair and you're in a terrible situation, maybe you are morbidly obese, maybe you have something really wrong with your life, but there must be something there,
Yeah.
something good about your life that you want to be grateful for, even in fact you are alive and you are
Yes.
on earth now, or you
Yeah.
just heard a little bird. There must be something there, and if there is nothing, then you really need to seek for help, because there is nothing. Then it's time to reach out and say, okay, I need help, I need somebody to talk to, and get into journaling until we can find that grateful thing, because it's so good to rewire the brain to see the good
Absolutely.
part, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and it can be done at any age. And it's a shame that it isn't part of our education,
Mm.
in reference to these tools. But yeah, I mean, I was in my late 30s and have been able to rewire and actually, as you say, see something beautiful in every single day, even if it's felt like a really bad one, with gratitude, and using affirmations to really raise my vibration so that I can see things in a new light and not quite so dark.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, there's so many different tools out there. I could give you loads, but those
of course.
three.
Yeah, but I will be putting links. So you guys, if you enjoyed listening to Dani Kent, you might want to look at all her retreats and things. So we'll put all the links below. I don't want to just use the episode to read them aloud. The URLs are a pain, but it'll be so good. So you can feel free to ask Dani any questions. And I will be talking forever about this. Mindfulness has been introduced in some schools and has had great results. So it's not just for people who want to lose weight. Mindfulness is a way of living and being content with what we have and looking for improvement, but analyzing and balancing the needs and the wants and what is really happening, because a lot of stuff that we think is happening is only our thoughts. It's not the reality. It's what we think it is, and it's not
Absolutely.
actually happening. So when we journal, we go back and say, oh yeah, that's how it is.
Back
actually.
to basics.
Yeah, and that was an excuse. Listen to me, find out another excuse, and that cheeky cheeky. And it's just so fun to look back and say, well, yeah, okay, I can do better. And you literally have a new leaf, a new page. You restart every day with grace and be very compassionate, because we are so compassionate with other people. Why can we not be compassionate towards our own selves? I don't get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which is
Yeah,
madness.
I know, right? But anyway, thank you so much for
You're
being with
very
us.
welcome.
It's been
Thank
so
you so
good. So,
much for
guys,
having me.
yeah, everything went well. And you guys, you're going to have to go to Danny Kent's website and follow us for more wisdom. Is that how they say it? Is it supposed to be something like that? Follow me for more advice.
Yes.
So please click like and share this episode so everyone can get hold of important information that will help them to lose the weight or become mindful, become grateful, or change something good in their life. So thank you very much, everyone. Take care. I see you all later. Bye bye.